Don't go looking for exposure until you're ready to get exposed.
I love that. I mean, because that's going to happen, right?
Oh yeah. People get exposed.
This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome. I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission, help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. The game of basketball has changed a lot. When I first started coaching, after I played a little college ball, get into teaching, do some coaching. When I first got into it, I feel like it hadn't changed that much. And I'm sure, whenever you start coaching or you start having kids, you don't want to believe that the kids and the players, your sons, your daughters, that they're better than you. It's easy to look back and say, well, in my day, this, and in my day, that. But the more I stayed in coaching, and then as it's been a few years now since I laced them up, it's like undeniable. The speed, the skill, the strength, the size, everything about it is better. It's improved. The game is, I just believe that the players are just so more skilled and spent so much more time preparing it. And it's the numbers bear it out as far as stats and stuff. Kids shoot really well. You just go to a basic layup line now, and you would show up to a high school team in the past and you'd be like, oh, they have a kid that can dunk, and everybody would watch. Well, now it's like it's I'm not saying everybody, but it's amazing. Like you go to I saw some kids the other day at a high school dunk competition just in Southern Illinois. And kids are doing the East Bay dunks between the legs, doing almost a free throw line dunk that Jordan made famous like years ago. Like the skill is, it's undeniable. It's amazing, and it's fun to watch. Now there's still problems with the games, and I think that there's things that kids aren't as good at anymore. But as far as the skill and their abilities to do different things on the court, it's unmatched. It's definitely trending up, or it has trended up. I do think that in order to keep up, and part of that's the culture and what we put into it, but it needs, like, for kids to develop into that. That means they have to have a lot of time. They put in a lot of effort, and they got to have some passion to it. And I know that the kids, and when I watch my son and some of the kids I've coach and I work with, they put so much more time into it than I used to. Their physical ability, their skill set, and they have to have more passion. If you want to be, these days, if you want to be a good high school player, you have to have the passion. You have to put into it. And when we're talking about passion, it really fits in with my guest today, Brandon Heyen of Heyen Hoops. He is a basketball skills trainer. He does the Pure Sweat workouts. If you've ever heard of them, they're fantastic. And he's got a spot in Bloomington Normal where he works with kids. He trains them. And we get into his story a little bit, and just his passion for the sport and for his passion for helping young kids be their best. It's passion like that we need. If your kid wants to be a good high school player and wants to develop, they need that passion to get there, and you need a guy like Brandon, a coach, a trainer, something that has that passion and want to help him get there. And you hear it in Brandon's story, just coming out of college and some of his injuries and some of the things he had to work through to build this business that he's got from the ground up. And it's just talking to him and just getting to know Brandon a little bit. It's the kind of guy you want in your corner, cheering you on and helping you develop. So as the game changes, kids got to keep up if they want to play it. And it's fine if you don't want to play it, but if you want to keep up, this is the sort of things like you have to be putting in this time and have this passion. So really good interview. I'm going to get into some of my thoughts on it. We have a really good conversation of skills training and AAU and the Europe model versus US model. It's a pretty good conversation, but I got some ideas on it and we'll talk on the other side. But for now, let's just jump in the interview with Brandon Heyen of Heyen Hoops. Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport, and they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Toman, at Mental Mettle Coaching. And welcome back to the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm always here, ready to go. I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman, and I'm here with my guest today, Brandon Heyen of Heyen Hoops, and I'm excited to chat with Brandon. I've known Brandon a while, so it's going to be interesting to have a conversation about some hoops and some development and just a little bit about it, your story too. So I appreciate you joining me, Brandon.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So you know this, I know this, but just full disclosure, it's great that I can have you on and we can be friends, even though you played at Illinois Wesleyan and I'm a Millikan guy, but it's okay. I mean, what am I going to say? Because you guys always have our number anyway, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Right. I'm excited on the year they had.
They did
well. Got cut short, unfortunately, but man, they had a loaded senior class, and it just seems like Coach Rose just keeps reloading every year. So
yeah, he does a really good job. Coach Rose is a great guy, so yeah. He does a really good job. But that's just also to speak that I don't know, it really wasn't where I was planning on going this conversation. But man, the level of I always say, and you would know this. You probably run into this all the time, or you hear stuff like this. And I used to when I was coaching high school ball, and when I run with athletes now, basketball players, and anybody that downgrades or thinks, well, I could at least play Division III.
Yeah,
right? And that's what they love to say.
Or I could always go to Wesleyan, or
right. Yeah. And anytime a kid would say that, I would say, why don't you go check out a Wesleyan game? Sit on the front row.
Go to the conference tournament. Go to Wesleyan, Augie. Go to
Go stand next to the guys and go watch it and the intensity and the strength and the speed and the skill and then you come back to me and tell me what you think. And it's It's tough. It's good. It's good basketball. There's great basketball all over the place.
Mhm.
It's the skill level to me anymore. The strength, the size, the speed, and the skill level is just it's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's yeah, you can't write it off until you go. And I just don't. A lot of times, it's like I think a lot of kids in the area, they just don't have that real conversation with themselves to where it's like, okay, when I get past my sophomore year of high school, it's like you got to have that conversation, like, what level can I really play, versus like, you know, um, whether it's having, I'm not going lower than, let's just say it's like D2. Let's just say I'm not going lower than D2, like just being very realistic. Um, and then actually setting goals. If you really want to play D2, well, this is what you would have to do to get there, versus like, is what I'm currently doing going to get me to where I want to be? And a lot of times the answer to that is no.
It's well, I think because they don't understand that,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
I think that because there's several factors, but like let's be honest, like if you don't check the box physically, right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
No.
if you don't
I
if you
haven't.
don't check the box physically, if you're not
Right.
I'm not kidding, depending on your position, but like
Right.
even for a guard anymore, you better be looking for six
Right.
three.
And
And
even
if
yeah.
you're not, then the amount of time you need to be putting in is like it's off the
Right.
charts.
Right. Especially now, I feel like it's funny, but it's even different. It's really hard to believe that 14 years ago I was a freshman in college. Um, that seems crazy, but even then, I think it was a little bit different. Like me coming out of high school, Coach Rose recruited me 6'8", 180, like nothing. Like I was not built.
Yeah.
So, but I think he knew that because I coming in freshman year, like one of the seniors, um, uh, Elia Gonzalez, he took me under his wing and said, "Okay, after every day after practice, you're with me in the weight room." Um, and then a couple other players like tried helping me like just develop my game into being more of a perimeter player. And so yeah, I mean, looking back even then, like I got recruited, like I went to Wesleyan, but like I physically did not fit the bill yet. So
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's a powerful word,
yes,
right?
it
Like
is.
it's
Yeah, right.
well, that's just it. I think a lot of high school kids come out and they think, "Oh, I'm ready to go." And you're not
Right,
anymore, especially. I mean,
right.
especially the guys, they just don't like you have to grow up a little bit.
Hmm.
Especially now. You got college players in their I mean, they're older now.
They're getting older. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's
getting older.
amazing. So walk me through a little bit about your career playing. And I know you had, and we can maybe talk about this a little bit. I know you had some ankle injuries that
Yep.
derailed a little bit, caused some problems, and I know that's a little bit part of your story too, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I get through my freshman year at Wesleyan, and that summer, I full on just I wanted to come into the next season and have some sort of role, on that on that on the team, and I worked a lot with a guy named Kevin Ratch who. He played overseas basketball a lot, but he played for Coach Rose when he was at Bloomington High School, and he's just Kevin was just like a really good mentor and friend to me, and so I worked with him the whole summer. I was in the weight room the whole summer, and then I go to Nashville with my mom for like she's on a business trip or something, so I'm just hanging out, coming along. And I go to the YMCA, I work myself out, and then these guys want to play pickup. And I'm like, I'm already done. Like, I put my shoes back on. First shot I take, land on somebody's foot. And, from there, it just started. That kind of started it all. Cause then, like, my mom's in meetings all day. I walked probably a mile and a half back to the hotel we were staying at. I knew it wasn't like an ankle sprain. It felt different. And then, I had surgery on my ankle, a couple months later. And then a month after the surgery, after the first surgery, I ended up getting MRSA, which is a very nasty staph infection, and almost lost my
Yeah.
foot. So then I had a second surgery immediately. I was in the hospital for about a week. And then, a year after that, I had one more ankle surgery to kind of clean everything up. And, after all that's, said and done, and you go through all the rehab process and, getting back into, playing shape and condition and everything, like now my college career is over. So, but I think going through all that adversity, that's, that's really a huge part of why I'm even doing what I'm doing now, because now I get to touch so many different lives of kids that, they're going to play college basketball. And like, if I can be a part of that entire journey, like it's just so cool. Because I feel like I get to relive kind of a college basketball career that I didn't get to have, and I get to do it
Yeah.
multiple times. So
I love, I mean, I feel that because I feel that a little bit in my story, and I'm doing something that I wouldn't be doing if something hadn't happened.
it
To
hadn't
me,
happened.
right? And it's, I tell people all the time that it's like we have to take these things that happen and take them from things that happen to us and turn them into something that happened for us.
Right.
I don't. There's no other option, right? There is another option, but
Right.
it's not. It doesn't lead you down a good path, right?
Right. And honestly, and that's how, like, I'm affiliated with Pure Sweat Basketball, and Drew
Mm-hmm.
Hanlon. That's who I kind of started with. And actually, Drew, I literally have the best mentor in the world in him. I mean, he's literally the best in the world at what he does. And like, he came to Bloomington 2 weeks ago to run a clinic with me, and he's just like, it's just like so surreal how, like, it's almost like the stars align type thing, where it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, all these things happened to lead to this, and this is why I'm doing this. And it's just kind of crazy, because people ask me how I got into it, and I just always say I got really lucky. So
Well, it's
a lot of times it feels like luck, though, just because like people were in the right place at the right time. And like, when I was going through all my injuries and everything, like Drew was just kind of, breaking out with his Pure Sweat basketball stuff. And they had an app, and I was using his app to work myself out. Cause like back then, like 14 years ago, like coaches weren't allowed to work with you for Division III. We didn't have we don't have a player development coach or like a workout guy or anything like that. Like I joke with people all the time. The only thing free we ever got Illinois Wesleyan were these thick, long Champion brand wool socks in the equipment room. And now you go in their locker room, it's like all nice and
I know.
all crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that app, I don't know how long ago it was. So I'm trying to think about, but that app came out. So this has probably been, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I started looking at it, and I was like, man, this is good stuff. And I downloaded it. I was teaching at the time and coaching at the time, and so my son Lane was out of junior high, whatever. And I downloaded that app for him, and he just had it on his phone, and he would just have it there. You'd go into the gym, and that thing was like on the ground, and he would be scrolling through it, watching the video, and then doing the workouts. And I'm telling you, I mean, he's a pretty good ball player, and I know that's a big part of it. Like, he just kept like having that workout to do. It's good stuff.
And so like I think I took that, and I enjoyed that process so much. I just there was something about it I just enjoyed so much. So then, fast forward senior year. I'm finally healthy for the second half of my senior season, but it's like, I'm not in the rotation at this point. Like I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm just trying to help us in practice any way I can. And hopefully we make a run my senior season. But then you get done with basketball and it's like, oh, okay. Now what? And then, so then, let's see. So then from there, I interviewed in Chicago for a bunch of sales, marketing jobs, everything. And I even got second interviews. But everything was a no, 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 no. And then finally I go into this last interview. I'll never forget. It was at, I don't even know if is Groupon. Do you know what Groupon is? Is that still a thing?
I don't know. You got me.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of Groupon. Yeah.
So it's like a online like coupon.
Yeah, it's where people get together to. Yeah, I got
Right.
you.
So,
Yeah.
And I remember interviewing, and like I told myself going in an interview, because Drew had a Pure Sweat basketball clinic in St. Louis that upcoming weekend, and I'm like, where he's teaching his entire curriculum. I'm like, you know what? If I don't get anything out of this interview, I'm going to that this weekend. And I think I already had my mind made up.
Yeah.
Probably. And I go into the interview. I interview for like 20, 30 minutes. And then the woman walks out. The woman that interviewed me walked out. And I'm sitting in there alone for like an hour. And I'm like, what? Like, did they forget about? Like, I thought I've got forgotten about. And a guy walks in, and again, I don't even remember. It's so long ago, I don't remember names or anything. Guy walks back in, talks like kind of, shooting back and forth for about 5 minutes, and he goes, "Brandon, I just talked to so and so that interviewed you a while ago, and honestly, it sounds like you don't even want the job." And I go, and I'll never forget. I responded, "You know what? You're probably right. Thank you for your time," and I walked out.
It's.
I think I honestly just, going into it, I probably already have my mind made up.
Yeah, no, I mean, your subconscious was, I'm sure, working on you.
Oh yeah.
It's funny, but you say that you're like, oh, I think I got really lucky, but you mentioned about you feel like you got lucky, but like you were also, I mean, you go to this, I mean, you bet on yourself a little bit, and you go to this, you could have been just be like, you go to this clinic with Drew, and it's,
right. But people don't realize it didn't happen right away. So like I went to that.
Look, overnight stories happen. It take 5 years at minimum, right?
It definitely didn't happen right away. I actually felt like I kind of failed at it the first time. So I went down to that clinic, and he took a group. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to have like a 20-minute meeting, or like just kind of spiel over here. We're trying to grow this Pure Sweat thing to where we bring on coaches and stuff. If you're interested, come over here." So I did that. And he basically, after his long spiel, gave me his phone number, his email, and said, "Okay, go start and then keep in touch with us." And so I did that. I moved back home to Paxton, Illinois. I moved in with my uncle just so I could say I didn't move back in with my parents.
It's a distinct a difference without a distinction,
Even
right?
though he lived a block and a half down the road.
I got you.
I'm going back home. I'm going.
I got you.
Yeah. So then I was doing stuff, and honestly, like when I first started, like you got all this information you get from this clinic, and like now it's like, okay, now what? Now what? And like, I just go into these start promoting myself a little bit, start working with these kids, and like I don't, like in an individual setting, maybe 3 to 4 kids at a time, like nothing like I do now. Like we'll have 24 kids in a session. And like last night we had 24 high school kids in a session. I'm like, now it's easy. So,
yeah.
it's so it's kind of crazy to look back. I was doing like there's a gym in Paxton that the old junior high, it's torn down now. I was there was like the windows, there were like big enough windows up top to where sunlight would come in. And I was sneaking into that gym and working with kids with the lights off just so nobody knew I was in there.
Mm.
Um, and then I got like a YMCA membership in Champaign, and I would work with kids there and like individually, and we'd have like there'd be like other basketballs bouncing in our way and just random kids running in our way. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And
Yeah.
so I got down to I got down to the last of my grad party money. And I was like, I might need to get a job. So
Yeah.
my mom helped me get a position up in Skokie, Illinois.
Yeah.
And I was for a logistics company. I was like the middleman to where we have customers paying us this. I have to find a trucking company to pay them this, so then we make the middle. So I did that I lasted 9 months, and then I was planning. And then after 9 months, I just hit a really low point where I'm like, okay, I gotta like I if I'm gonna do this basketball thing, I need to move back to Bloomington because
Yeah.
that's Wesleyan, and I just knew I could. I thought that's the best way I'm going to get a good start. And I didn't. I quit, but I got fired before I quit because they were looking through they looked through my emails and saw. So I actually got fired a month before I planned. So I left Chicago. I left Chicago area with a little bit less money. I was down to like $300 to my name, and I moved in.
I'm gonna say honestly, Brendan, it sounded like you really didn't want that job either.
No, I didn't. Probably not. 9 months in, no. And
Yeah.
then I was living in Normal, Illinois, with 3 people, and I joke I was living in like a Harry Potter closet.
Yeah.
Paying like $400 a month to live with them for rent, and and then I just got to work because I was like, you know what, I got $300 my name. I'm living with 3 people I don't know, but I'm doing basketball for a job.
Yeah.
And I'm
right.
like, I'm gonna make this, and I'm in Bloomington Normal. I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make it work because like there's no like at that point now there's no other option.
No, yeah, it's the safety net's gone, right?
Right. Like mom and dad are not down the street anymore. Not living with uncle. I'm not I'm not in Paxton anymore. I'm not the guy that came back to my hometown and like, well, he used to do this. Like, no, like
Yeah.
because it was funny though, when my mom and dad moved me out of Chicago and into Normal. And when we got to the house and we walked in and saw what I was going to be living in, my mom was like, "Oh, Brandon, what did you do?" My dad was so like distraught. You could just see it in his face. And I'm like, I got it. I was just like, trust me, I got it. And so now we're here.
So now, well, when you say now we're here, let's talk about what you do. Let's talk about Heyen Hoops and what that is and what that's about, because that's kind of I love the story, but I want to talk about where we're at now too.
Yeah. So we do basketball skills training and coaching here in Bloomington Normal. I used to promote everything under Pure Sweat Basketball, and then about 2.5, 3 years ago, we branded everything under myself. My sister created. She's an unbelievable graphic designer and artist. She created our logo, and just it kind of, the branding fits so well. Just the HH Heyen Hoops. Funny enough, my wife, we got married last July, and now her name's Hannah, so now her initials are HH too. So it's again kind of worked out. So But I took over. There was a long going gym in town that was called Game Time Gym.
Yep. Yep.
And they had 3 basketball courts. And in February of 2023, I was able to lease 1 basketball court, and then I installed 2 more baskets. So I had 1 court with 4 hoops. Had that for about a year until like we were kind of, busting at the seams. So then I was able to lease a 2nd court. So now we have 2 courts in there, 8 baskets. And yeah, now we do basketball, individual or group training. We work with anywhere from 2nd grade to 12th grade. And then, I'm super excited because in the next, kind of month or so, I'll be getting all my college and pro guys back. So that'll be exciting. I love it. I love that part of it. It's so busy, but I just love being able to work with all those guys throughout the summer. And then, we have a few coaches on staff, 1 full-time, a few part-time. And yeah, we just keep on growing, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about, I know it's all basketball skills training, right? And that's the focus, right? Like run me through, like if a kid's going to sign up with Heyen Hoops and showing up, what do we do? What are they doing?
So we've been doing first workouts free. That way we make sure, they get accustomed to us. We get accustomed to them. We see where they're at, see what kind of, see if it's a good fit. And then, from there, it really just depends. I mean, everybody that works with us, I want to make sure we're developing them into a shooter. Can they shoot? They got to be able to shoot, or at least it's got to be going the right direction. That's the biggest one. There's a NBA skills coach, Phil Beckner. He works with Damian Lillard, and I actually went out to Phoenix to help and kind of observe him for 2 weeks, like 5 years ago maybe. And something he always says is shooting is the separator, because if you can shoot, it makes up for a lot. If you're slow, can you shoot? Right? Everybody has to play defense, but if you can,
that is the goal of basketball, is to put the ball in the hoop, right? Let's be honest, right? And if you can make up for a lot of deficiencies if you can put the ball in the hoop,
right? For sure. So that's really where we start with kids, and then we want to try to get rid of the things that could be threats to them not being on the floor. So like a threat to me would be like, okay, do you turn the ball over a lot with pressure? What's the reason for that? Is it because you can't dribble with your left hand? Is it because you're going too fast? What is it? Obviously at the younger ages, we just want to set a good foundation, right? Like just get them. The biggest thing is making sure they understand, like, messing up is okay. Like making mistakes is okay, because that's how we learn. Like if they're just able to, like, we rarely do a bunch of stationary, like I don't know, last night was probably the last time we did any sort of stationary ball handling, because kids just don't mess up doing it. So it's like you're not getting better at anything.
That's the old school. Used to go to. I went to these basketball camps, and it was everybody getting a big circle and do. And I look. I'm telling you, I was at 14. I was at 6'4". I was a post, and I'm not. That's why I didn't play a whole lot. But but then I could do those drills like everybody.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I wasn't a ball handler. Like when you know what I'm saying. So I get what you're saying. Like you have to be in a position where you mess up. Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they can still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great. They're necessary. but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website, get started on the journey to a more confident, successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching.
You could go down a rabbit hole with this, like this kind of stuff Steph Curry does with his guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like, man, I'd like, honestly, bringing it up, I need to go down that rabbit hole too, because I think some of it's so interesting. Like they use a lot of they do a lot of tennis ball work. And like they have like these goggles where you can't see at a certain peripherals.
I've seen them. Yeah.
It's very odd, but like, you know, he's able to do all that stuff and a lot of reaction stuff, and he's messing up. But then I thought I saw a clip of Luka doing it, and Luka was messing everything up. Like he wasn't able to do any of it. But then are you going to say, okay, Luka can't, you know what I mean? Like just because,
I know
you know what I mean?
There's a whole lot more to it than you think, right? Right.
So, yeah, from like just from our skill workout standpoint, we want to make sure shooting's always a priority. So we make sure, and we have shooting guns there at our facility too, that people can book out. So
I'm gonna tell you what, the shooting, I feel like they have revolutionized the game.
Oh, they're
right. I mean, they're unbelievable.
Problem is, every high school has one, and then they don't let their kids use it.
That's insane. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't let them use it.
Well,
right?
The whole gym space thing is going to continue to get worse because the liability, and then you can't, I don't know, some kids can't get into their high school and like get up. It's like they're either broken here. I'm not going to say what schools, but like I know one school that has 3 of them, or they either have a shoot away, or they have doctor dishes.
Yeah.
And all 3 of them are broken, and they're just sitting there.
I'm telling you, there's a reason why, you know what I mean? Like we say the point that like Draymond Green has more made threes than Larry Bird, right?
Really?
Yeah, I saw that the other day. Right? And that's what I'm saying. The game has, I know, and in your mind you're like that doesn't compute. But the game has changed that way, and I think that we see kids shoot now that they couldn't do before. And I know it's because of when I was growing up, like you're shooting, it's like I got to shoot it, I got to go get it, or you got to. Luckily, hopefully, you had a buddy at least. But even then,
I grew up like that, and like driveway. I'm just in a driveway all day long.
Which I'm not against that. But now my son will send me a pics of him, and he's like, "Oh, what'd you do today? Oh, I put up 1,000 shots." Okay, right? Like, I mean, you couldn't do that before, right?
It's super easy now. Or like, when I think it's hilarious the Last Dance documentary when Jordan shoots free throws, and he's got that, or Steve Kerr too, and they've got that net under the basket that bounces it back out.
Yeah. I'm just saying you gotta if you've got a gun, get it fixed and let your kids use it.
Right. Well, they have the home ones you can buy too now. You can throw in your garage. But so back to what we're doing, shooting and skill stuff. But what we just started this spring, and it's funny, the timing when you reached out to me, because I didn't know if you, and this is kind of where the conversation, I think you kind of wanted it to go, but I don't know if you knew this. We started we're calling it an academy, so Heyen Hoops Academy.
Okay.
And we are So it just started this spring. We haven't played our first games yet, but we're pretty much creating, going against like the traditional travel team AAU model and trying to start something with more of a European approach.
Oh, I love it.
More,
And for those listening that don't know what we're talking about, what do we let break that down? The difference between the way we do basketball, and I say
right.
the way that the system is done right now in the United States versus Europe,
Right.
from your
So I mean,
perspective.
there was a video that went viral. I think it was Gino Oriema talking about it.
Yeah.
I know every basketball person has seen that video at this point. To where like, they put up different number, like the like kids overseas they'll practice 6 times a week and then play one game versus the US system. They practice 1 time a week and then they go play 6 games. And so it's like, you know, uh, and that's why like the European model, I think makes so much more sense because you're practicing to get better at the game you play
Mm-hmm.
versus trying to play the game and get better that way. Right. It's just nothing can be broken down. Like what are you actually getting better at just by playing game, especially in a 5-on-5 scenario.
That's the thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why, in our academy, we make it to where now in a perfect world, right, you're able to practice as a team in a perfect world. Like I would love to have more team practices, but the nature of like how family schedules are, especially with school and stuff, like it's really hard to
It's hard.
It's so hard, especially when you got all these different levels. Kids are multi-sport, which I totally agree with.
Yep.
I totally agree with that. And like families have more than one kid and
Yeah.
and they have jobs. Like it's so to have one team practice a week, we have that. If I could do more, we would. It's just, and even for us, like from a scheduling standpoint, it's insane. We do one team practice. So as part of the academy, they get the one team practice. They get 2 shooting skill sessions with us a week. So those are like 75 minutes each. And then like right now for our 5th through 8th graders, we have a 3-on-3 league on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So think about all of that versus going to one team practice and then go play 4 or 5 games in a tournament on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, and I'm assuming first of all, a 3-on-3 is a phenomenal way to learn basketball. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And so if you watch the Summer Olympics last year,
yes,
we play FIBA style too.
Okay. That's just cool. So it's up tempo, you get after it. But but what's good about that is I'm sure that you're not, because we also have kids that sign up, get on an AAU team that travels up to Chicago, Atlanta, wherever all weekend. And they're like, oh, I get a few minutes. We're like, I'm sure you're making sure everybody gets, like, in a 3-on-3 league, everybody's playing.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't hide. That's what I love about
Yeah.
it. Because if you you're automatically showing, and not even from a skill standpoint, like if you're not spacing correctly, everybody knows
Right.
it. Everybody knows it because you're in the way. So you can't hide. You're getting more touches. A guy that used to be with Pure Sweat Basketball, he was really early on. Now he's doing his own thing. He's big in the WNBA circle. His wife is actually Nafisa Collier, who's like WNBA MVP. He had a breakdown, and I know I got it somewhere, but like he had a breakdown of like I saved it because it was so interesting. I'm gonna botch all the numbers, but like like a typical like a the I won't go into like all the math and everything because I know I'll forget it or like I don't have the exact numbers, but like a breakdown of like a typical AAU weekend, and like if everything were even, like, okay, you have 8 players, everybody's time, let's say everybody's time is divided equally. Let's say, okay, you're playing offense this long and defense, everything's offense, defense equally. And it's like by the end of the weekend, you've touched the basketball 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. And drove and you spent how many? Right.
Yeah, and mom and dad drove all that. They might have gotten a hotel. You're eating garbage. You're like,
And I understand the idea of getting in a gym against bigger competition. Agree. I understand that. But a lot, there's a lot of good competition in Bloomington Normal or wherever you're at. You don't have to go. And I know the other part about and look, there's some good parts of AAU, and I understand that. But the whole thing about, a lot of people think they want it for recognition, and it's just, it's not. It is there. It's there for some people.
Yeah. If you're going, don't go looking for exposure until you're ready to get exposed.
I love that. I mean, because that's going to happen, right?
Oh yeah. People get exposed. I mean, it's hilarious. Like some of the young kids, like a fifth grade travel team, and we get kids that are on fifth grade travel team in our gym, but they can't do the absolute basic things, just whether it's, like we talked about before, just dribbling with their weekend, using both hands to finish, just, passing.
Yeah.
And you got to think with travel teams at the younger age, the reason why those tournaments are so ridiculous is because a lot of them, the first day is like pool play and the second day is tournament play. But during the pool play, the way they seed is based on how much your team wins by. So point differential. So now you've got all these teams playing these garbage defenses to take advantage of the fact that a youth kid can't make the necessary pass to beat that defense.
Oh, the 1-3-1 is the defense for junior high because they can't make that pass. Yeah, right. I mean, I get it.
So I coached junior high. I coached junior high 7th and 8th boys for 5 years before I still had our gym now, and some teams just play zone because it's like some of the junior high school teams you play are just not good, and it's like so they pack it in. They have no choice. I would still make them play man, but because you're not learning any. It's like waving the white flag.
Yeah, but you're doing it, knowing you're sacrificing some wins, possibly.
Probably, but
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I did the same thing. I agree.
I don't remember the games I won or lost in junior high.
Well, and I say all the time that I think that junior high trophies are handed out to the team with the most mustaches, right?
That's a good one.
It is. It's whoever's gotten the most testosterone and grown first.
I've got a quick story on that. Do you know where Rantoul, Illinois is?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of a rough town. There used to be a Air Force base there, and then when they left, the town kind of lost its spark. I know they've been building a lot of new stuff there, but anyway, when I was in 6th grade, and this is the only time we ever played Rantoul. Didn't play him in high school, didn't play him in 7th or 8th, but 6th grade, I remember we played there, and like we're playing against kids, like you said, with mustaches.
Oh, absolutely.
These guys are 6th graders, and they're like, no, few of them should be 8th graders. One of them should be 9th, and all this stuff. And then, and then take that, and we're playing on the gym we're playing in has windshield glass backboards.
Yeah.
chain net
Oh, fantastic.
inside.
Yeah,
And
it's like
I'm like,
yeah.
where am I?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it wasn't a basketball skill. I'm sure you got rolled, but it
oh,
wasn't a basketball.
uh,
It
we
wasn't a
hung in
basketball.
there. We hung in
It
there.
wasn't a basketball skill thing,
No,
right?
no, it's just
And
like,
that's where that's
you
what
got,
that young age.
you
Yeah,
got
the importance
marketing warm
yeah,
ups.
the importance of those skills at the young age is so much more important
Right.
than
Then wins
wins.
and
Yeah.
losses. Yes.
Yeah. So when we're talking about building all these skills and getting better, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the long term. Like, I want to get into the mentality of it
Yep.
and how important that is to develop those skills, become a basketball player, and what you see and like what sort of confidence and resilience do you see from players and kids going through programs like this and focusing on skills?
Right. I think again, I touched on it earlier. I think the big uh, the big hurdle is just making sure kids get over failing. Like they're okay with
Mm-hmm.
failure. Um, and I think, that almost kind of, I'm trying to figure out a way to structure it the best way to talk about like mental toughness, but like you have to be okay. You have to be okay to by messing up and failing. That's just, to me, that's the only way to learn. And like for some kids, it takes longer than others. The other thing too is like, I'm not gonna name names, but we have um, one kid in our stuff right now, and like her family's going through some medical stuff, and like all, it's just it's it sucks, but like I want our gym to be like an outlet to where you forget about that stuff, and like
Yeah.
it's just like it's a safe place,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, and I can only imagine how hard it is. So like, then when we get on kids, like it comes, if we do get on kids, like I hope they know, like and I'm sure they do in the long run, like it comes from a place of like love, and we care, and we want what's best for them. But I really think the biggest hurdle is just, um, you know, being okay with failing or messing up, or like, I think that's a really big one. I mean,
Yeah.
like even last summer, like with some of our college players in particular, it was awesome summer, but we just had a few times where it's like, I think negativity just crept in a little bit at times, and I even called some of them out on it. Um, and then you figure out what's going on with them outside of the gym, and
Yeah.
I think that's something that can be lost in the shuffle. It's like, yes, you're here for basketball, but I want to care more about the actual person than, there's more than just basketball to everybody that comes in our gym.
Yeah.
But like the negativity was like, I was like, all right, I got to figure something out to do, or figure something out to deal with this. And so my sister put up a mural that says positive vibes only. And so anytime there's
Mm-hmm.
any negativity, so you got to run and you got to go touch the wall, come back,
I love it.
try to get rid of it, like just like as a reset. And so
It's.
we're going to utilize that a lot with our college players, because
I think it's. I
I just
think.
want you to leave it at the door. Just
Yeah.
leave the negativity at
Well,
the door.
I picked up on that when you wrote that you were talking about what are our threats, what are our deficiencies, and I think that you can go an entire weekend at an AAU program if you're really good, if you're playing games, and you could hit a bunch of shots but you didn't focus on anything to get yourself better. You just kind of increased what you were already good at. Like,
Right.
like some kid, like I know my son for a while, he would play some AAU stuff and he was a really good shooter. And the offense was, he was just going to go sit in the corner. Right.
Yeah.
And then and then
That's
we're going to,
a really good point. You're doing what you already do.
I was like, I already know he can make that shot when we're driving up to Chicago every weekend to have him do that. Right. Like
Right.
that's what,
And then what college did he end up at?
well, right. Exactly. So
Right.
it's like,
Right.
And it wasn't because of that, right? And I'm not again, I'm trying not to knock because there's some really good AAU programs out there. Like
I put something out. How long ago was that? I kind of compiled, articles, different things I read, my own thoughts. If I can find it, I know I got it somewhere. I'll send you it because I know the link. I linked it or something. I wrote it up and then I linked it out there. I'll find it and send it to you. But basically, just about the whole model and what's backwards about it and what doesn't make sense about it. But at the same time, like I remember sharing that and excuse me, and then talking to Gavin Sullivan, who runs Mid Pro Academy, which he does it the right way.
Yes,
he's arguably, he's arguably the best in the area. In the AAU space. And I'm like, and we had a conversation about it. He's like, you're right on this. You're right. I mean, it's all there. But like, I think 95% of kids, and that might even be low. I mean, you could even argue higher because how many kids actually play college basketball?
It's
very low.
Right.
So it's like 2%. So you could say 97%, but like, let's say 95% of kids should not be doing AU. 95% probably. It's the kids like, okay, like the Cole Sertas, Cole Serta, who's at Notre Dame, like, like Jaheim Weber, who's at Southern Illinois, Kobe Walker, who's going to Central Michigan, Ty Pence, who's at Illinois State, Jalen Quinn, who's at Loyola, guys that are being recruited by mid-major to high major. That's different. I even had a conversation with a Division III assistant 2 days ago, because I was, and I kind of already knew the answer, but I just wanted to. I've been asking a lot of D3 coaches just because we're doing this academy, and I want to have more proof and info for parents. I asked him what's your recruiting? Something happened. What's your recruiting look like? As far as finding kids and everything. And you know what they rely on? They rely on the high school shootouts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
D3, and I bet it's probably similar for Division II. Maybe not because again, I try to stay out of that space, but I'm sure Division IIs go to high school shootouts as well. You probably won't.
Sure.
You probably won't see very many. Well, D1 they do if it's like a big like invitational one, like Normal West holds one every year.
Yeah, but they know they're going there looking for a specific kid.
Right.
Yeah.
People know what coaches are going to be there ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Versus and so like with that, think about it that way. If you're playing in something like that, that'd be the best time to like show what you got.
I agree.
Like, from an exposure standpoint, not going to a giant tournament where it's just like it's like a crapshoot.
It's like and you walk in. It's these entire. You go into these convention centers and it's just court after court after court after court, and it's like
the biggest one for girls. Biggest one for girls. I think it's called Run for the Roses.
Yeah,
that's in Kentucky, and it's like a 5. It's like a 5 or I want to say it's a 5-day long thing, but like hundreds.
It's amazing.
So how are you going to get found? Do you expect to get found by a coach on court 79 green or something? Like,
I know, and I agree, and so I'm with you on this skill stuff. I love it, and I love focusing. I don't know how to package this. I'm going to figure out. That's kind of my job to figure out this, but positively focusing on the negatives, right? It's kind of like what you have to do, right? Yeah. And you're like, here's what I'm not good at, but I'm going to positively work on getting better at that. Not and gosh,
again yet, right?
Yeah. So when you can figure that out, man, that's when you get a kid that wants to develop and grow. And I love that that's what you're doing, that's what you're working on. Oh man, we're about out of time. Anything I didn't ask that I should have?
No,
Brandon.
I mean, I could keep going on the rabbit hole with that stuff, but I mean, it's everybody's choice.
Sure.
I'm just sitting back. I've sat back for a long time, and I kept telling myself, like, if we were ever to do like something that resembled travel basketball, we are going to do it completely different. We're not going to, like, for example, we've been doing our skill stuff. We've had our team practices. We started towards the end of February. And so we've been going for about a month now. We got 2 more weekends of our 3-on-3 league, and then we'll play mid-April. And we're just going up to like Chicago suburbs. They have something called one-day shootouts where you can just go up there, play 3 games for one day, and then come home. And like, I hope that I can if I can expand a little bit more, I'd love to start holding stuff in-house. And now we don't have to.
Great.
Now we don't have to go anywhere.
Beautiful.
So, but again, I kept sitting back, and I'm just watching. Like, I'll go to high school games, and I'm like, oh, this is hard to watch. And like, you see the kids that are all playing travel, and like, even the high school coaches don't like it.
They hate it. They hate it.
Because, and that's why, like, what I did when we started this program, I reached out to, and I'm sure like I could probably get more if I didn't reach out to like directly to all of them, but like I did send emails to some, but it's like coaches and their email, I can only imagine, are crazy.
Yeah. It's,
but like, I try to get endorsements and just saying, hey, are you guys on board with what we're doing here? Because then it's like, if you're endorsed by all the high school coaches in the area for what you're doing, it's like,
sure.
Oh, I'm going to go get, because that's the thing with the younger levels is I want to get kids ready for high school basketball. That's the ultimate goal. Just get ready for high school basketball.
And you're in, I mean, that's the best part. You're living in Bloomington, Illinois, and it's some of the, it's just phenomenal high school basketball.
Yeah, we're
up and down. Oh, the whole area. It's just a great area.
Area.
So,
yeah,
man, it's fantastic. I love the conversation, Brandon. I love what you're doing. I love how you're doing it. I wish you all the best, and hopefully, I know you're busting at the seams now. Hopefully you get bigger seams, right? That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, that's my goal. So
let's hope so.
I sure appreciate you coming on, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is I need to start a podcast of my own. Because I love talking. I love talking shop, and honestly, I think I got that from growing up with my grandpa early on, because he ran a construction business. So I love the shop talk feel. So
just talking.
Yes, I love it. I got to figure
whether anybody listens or not, who knows? But I don't mind talking. So, all right, thanks, Brandon.
You got it.
Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport, and they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Toman, at Mental Mettle Coaching. I meant what I said, and hopefully you see that from talking to Brandon. Like, the game has changed a little bit, and the need for the skill development and having that passion and trying to keep up with players today and the way the game has changed and just the intensity and the microscope that's on the game anymore. It's a lot for a kid to keep up with. And if you want to play in high school and if you want to get to college and play, it's a lot of work. You have to put a lot of time in. And with that culture, and I love it. I love basketball. It creates some great basketball. It's fun to watch. We just came out of March Madness season, and it's just fantastic to watch. But with this growth and with this passion and with all this skill development and players getting better, it creates the opportunity for more negatives and more negative opportunities. Let me explain what I'm saying. Like, as we focus on things more and it becomes something we care about more, that creates more pressure on the individual players. As players get better, you think about your kid or your athletes getting better. Well, everybody else is getting better too. So trying to compare and to keep up, and the people that you're fighting for to win championships and fighting against to get scholarships, they get better. There's just more ways to get beat now. Like, it's, as players and teams develop, there's a lot of opportunity to lose as well. And we haven't even mentioned all the social media pressure that we get. Like, people pay attention. It's like, it feels like every game a kid plays is online somewhere. People can watch it and roll back and see your mistakes and see your problems. And I think that this is part of what develops what we love to see us. That's the one thing. If you've listened to this and you're talking about, well, they're not better because these kids are mentally soft. That's what we love to say. We love to like give a hard time to the current generation about how soft they are and stuff like that. And there are some issues with that. I mean, that's what I work in and that's I help with. But understand that if you're looking down at this generation and talking about, well, we didn't have to worry about that and we weren't soft and we didn't do this. Well, you weren't playing in the situation that we are now. The kids are now. So much more pressure, so much more social media, so many players are better and developing more and getting bigger, faster, stronger. And it's a lot on kids to try to keep up. And also we put pressure on kids to win those championships and get those scholarships. So it's understandable. And I'm not complaining about the situation. I'm not a complainer. I figure out what's going on and we try to solve it, but it does create some problems. And what we have to do is, it's okay to recognize the fact that these negatives are there, that these so many opportunities and ways to fail are there, but we have to find a way to combat those positively. And that's the key. And I started thinking about that as I talked with Brandon, and he's talking about that positive vibes only and how he's so focused on working on your deficiencies and understanding what's wrong with your game or what needs some help. And the way he phrased it, I loved it when he's talking about what are your threats. And such a great way to look at it is to say, what are your threats to success on a basketball court? What's your threats towards getting a championship or not? And you have to be able to have some recognition in your game, in your abilities or your lack of abilities, and say, I'm not good at this. This is a threat to me getting where I want to go and actually working on it. And I like the way that he phrases that, and I like the way that he works on it. And what I really like about his basketball skills training is he's creating a comfortable environment for failure. Failure is such a necessary step for growth. We have to fail. Failure gives us so much recognition on what we need to work on. And I think that having that environment, and he talked about it being a safe space. And I know when we talk about these days, when somebody talks about a safe space, if you're this big macho guy and you hear that, you're like, oh, that's silly. You don't need a safe space. You need it. No, it's a safe space to fail. And when you are taking, and we talked about the AAU stuff, and let me talk the difference between a safe space to fail, like where he's got, and a space that's not great to fail in. And that's like what we do is we send these kids to these AAU games, and you may feel like you're not putting a lot of pressure on your kid, but when you spend an entire, kids are aware of what we're doing. We're spending an entire weekend. You're driving to Atlanta. You're spending the entire weekend paying for meals, paying for hotel rooms. And that comes out in the way we cheer, the way we support our kid. We want them to win. We want them to do well. But you're traveling to go against really good competition. And on one hand, we say, no, it's okay. We want to fail. But then also we want to see them succeed. And we're putting all this pressure on them. And sometimes it gets the kid, like, you got two options in that game. It's either when they realize they're being exposed, and I love the way Brandon put that. He was like, if you're ready for, like, if you want exposure, you better be ready to be exposed. Like, kids, when they'll realize when they're struggling and they're not up to the task, they got two options. They can go hide and not even try anything new and kind of hide in the game and make sure they maybe don't get the ball, or even they don't even get in. Or the other option is try and you could fail miserably on a big stage. Now, of course, there are games you might show up and you might do really well, and that happens. But I'm telling you, a lot of times you can travel, you end up traveling the weekend to Atlanta, and you can get dropped, lose every game by 30, and you could have stayed in Bloomington or Peoria and found people to beat you by 30 there. Like, it's, and that starts to work on the mentality of a kid whenever you're doing that. And I know that you have to be exposed and you have to go against better competition. I agree with that. But again, you can find that in places that are safer places to fail. We want them to fail, but we want them to do it in a place, in a way that promotes growth, not completely beats them down. And it's tough. And some of those weekends at AAU, and you show up and it can be devastating. It really knocks you down further down than you're ready to go. And I just really enjoy the way he's approaching the basketball, and the way he's playing the games, and the way he's doing the basketball training. If you aren't aware of what we're talking about, look into the way they do the European model now. A lot more practices than they do games, very much on skill development. And as a result, European players are developing a lot of skill coming over, doing really well. In the United States, because we focus more on the games, you're not focusing on your threats. You're only trying to get to win the game. And whenever we want to win a game, we try to use the skills that we already have. We're not really, and you may get better at those a little bit, but you're not developing new skills, not focusing on your threats and what is going to make you better. So just a different way to look at it, and finding a good way and a good place to fail. Now, I will say that as we're talking about this, I talk about this all the time, that if you want to get good at basketball or any sport, there's 3 skill sets. You've got to use you got to get the game skills, which is what Brandon works on. You got to get the physical skills, which we know kids got to get in the weight room. And then you also have the mental skills that you have to develop. Those are the 3 skill sets. And Brandon talks about the mental skill sets a little bit when he's talking about being okay with failure. But if you've got a kid that can't even grasp any of that and really struggles with failure and doesn't see that, they're probably going to need a little bit more help on the intentional mindset skills that can help them do that. And they might need a little bit of recognition. They might need a little insight about how it's okay to fail, how that's part of the process. And that's something that I definitely work on. I'm going to start working with Heyen Hoops. We're working on a little bit of a deal for the people that go to his gym to work on some of the mental skills that I work in and my services. And I'm really excited about partnering with Brandon and Heyen Hoops. I think it's going to be a great thing. Helping kids, it's not just about basketball. And Brandon said that. It's about wanting them to be a place that they can, feel loved and feel part of something. And we're trying to develop them into, and he even said it, most kids aren't going in to play college. He's trying to develop good high school players. And our goal is to develop good people. And if you're working on those skills, those basketball skills and those physical skills, and you're getting better and you're working on those mental skills, you're developing a really good basketball player, but you're really developing a really good human, somebody who's prepared for life, ready to go, be a great employee, going to be a great spouse, parent someday. And that's what we're trying to do as much as we can, using a great sport like basketball to develop those people. I love it. Obviously, that's why I do what I do. So it's fantastic. So be looking for that. If you're listening to this and you are you were just interested because you do work with Brandon and you're in Heyen Hoops, get a hold of Brandon, get a hold of me. We've got some stuff we're working on. Really excited about developing some of these young people, young basketball players. Really good stuff. So thank you all that are liking, sharing, subscribing. Can't thank you enough. This is the 99th episode. I can't believe it. I am working on next week, the 100th episode. I don't know if you know any of my story, you probably know the word 100 means a lot to me. It's a long story that I'll tell you some about next week. My guest next week for the 100th episode is my son, Lane Toman. And I have been excited, looking forward to this episode coming up next week for a long time. Do not miss it. So check out the episode next week on Living Your 100, on the 100th episode. Really good stuff. So great episode with Brandon. It's just great. I love the stuff he's doing. Good stuff. So that's about it for time. So thanks all for listening. Thanks for liking and sharing. I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman. This is the Mental Mettle Podcast. And always remember to forge your metal. Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your metal.